Hello there, it's me again, and another maths lesson from Learning with Mr. Lovell. Today we're continuing to focus on dividing numbers by 10, 100 and 1000. As per usual, part 1 of your lesson is going to be your times tables focus. You need to log yourself back into Times Tables Rockstars, and can you please do 5 to 10 sessions in studio. Like we've said before, aiming to try and decrease your speed, moving up towards being a rock star, or as close to as possible. So get yourself on Times Tables Rockstars. Thank you very much. Part 2, we've got our sharp skills. And with this week, we're moving on from Roman numerals now. It might crop up at some times, it might have the date on, but we're moving on to looking at identifying 2D shapes. 2D, remember, is a shape that is two-dimensional. Two-dimensional means there's no faces to it. It's a flat shape. So it's a flat shape on the surface. And we're going to look at the names, giving you a few clues, a few handy tips that might help you remember the names of the shapes. Step number 1, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to have a look at the shapes in front of you. And I'm expecting that you can just literally name the shapes for me. What are the names of these shapes, please? Thank you. So we start with shape number 1 up here. Shape number 1, three-sided shape. Now I'm going to be very particular here, and I'm just putting my pointer on. We notice that there is 1, 2, 3 sides. We notice this side is not different to that side in length, and that side is the same length also. We also look at the corner, and this corner, this angle, is the same as this angle and this angle. So I think lots of you will have just named that as a triangle. However, we need to be very particular here, very specific. We can see the sides and the angles on this triangle are all the same. They are all equal. And because of this, we're going to call this triangle an equilateral triangle. Equilateral because all of the sides and angles are the same. We move on to shape number 2. Shape number 2, 4 sides all the same length and 4 right angles. That shape we know is a square. Shape number 3, we have 2 parallel lines that are the same length and 2 other parallel lines that are also the same length. And then we have 4 right angles in each corner, 1 in each corner. So 2 parallel lines of the same length and another set of 2 parallel lines that are the same length. We call that a rectangle. Shape number 4, just one side with no corners. The line is just infinite, which means it would go on and on and on. We're calling that a circle. Oh, and I didn't mean for that to come up, but we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-sided shape, 10-sided, all the sides are the same length, however we have different angles. This angle is different to that one. We're calling that a star. So a question for you to have a little think about, please. If you are having a look at all of the shapes on the screen, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to have a look which one of these shapes is the odd one out and why. There's one shape that doesn't fit with the pattern. Which shape is it and why? Off you go. So the shape that you hopefully have picked out, the shape that doesn't fit the pattern, is the circle. And the reason why the circle is the odd one out is because the rest of the shapes have straight lines in them. They also have angles in the corners. There's lots of ones that we can point out there. Whereas the circle is just one infinite line and there is no corners to it. The line just goes on and on. We continue. But what about this shape? What is the name of this shape? So a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided shape. What's the name of a 5-sided shape? And it is a regular pentagon. Lots of you, I think, will have just said a pentagon here. I have slotted in an extra word, regular. The word regular just means it is normal. The reason we're calling this a regular pentagon is because of the fact the sides are all the same length and the angles are all the same size. When the angles, the corners, and the lengths on the side are all of the same length, we call it a regular shape. A shape is regular when the sides and angles are the same. And this is a regular pentagon because it's a 5-sided shape. Which moves us on to looking at these shapes. So, you might notice something about these shapes. They don't look the same. What's the name of these shapes? What is the name? Think back to what we've just spoken about. When the sides and the angles are the same, little handy hint from the pointer there, it's a regular shape. What's the name of the regular shape? Then we look at this side. We haven't really seen a shape that looks like this before, but it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. We know the name of a 6-sided shape, but it's not the usual way it looks. So what might we call it if it's not the regular way we see it? 10 seconds to try and think of the names of the shapes. So we look at the one on the left-hand side. The one on the left-hand side is called a regular hexagon because a 6-sided shape is called a hexagon. And remember we said when a shape has the same length sides, all of these shapes are the same size, and the angles, the corners are all the same size, we call it a regular shape. So the sides and angles are all the same and it's got 6 sides, so it's a regular hexagon. In comparison to this shape, this is still a hexagon because it's still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. However, because the length of this side is different to that, and that side is different to the length of that one, and this side is different to the length of that one, we call it an irregular hexagon. Irregular because the sides and the angles are not the same. But it is a hexagon because it's got 6 sides. What about the name of this shape? I'm going to slot in a clue for you here. So the name of this shape has something to do with the event that Jessica Ennis-Hill does. You need to ask yourself, what's the name of the event that she does? Jessica Ennis-Hill competes in something that has 7 events in. So 7 different things that she has to do in her competition. Just like this shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides. Both have something 7 in them. What's the name of Jessica Ennis-Hill's event? And that might help you with the name of the shape. So this is a regular heptagon. The reason why we've got a picture of Jessica Ennis-Hill as a clue, she takes part in a competition called a heptathlon. And a heptathlon has 7 events in it. The word hept, the prefix hept, means 7. So 7 events in this Olympic competition, but this shape has 7 sides. So hept. And when we've got a shape of more than 4 sides, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10, the word will end in agon. So we've got hept for 7 and agon because it's more than 4 sides. It's a regular heptagon because it's got the same length sides and the same size angles. Last shape we're going So the last shape we're going to have a go at this time. Here's your clue for this one. How many legs does this creature have? And what's this creature called? Remember, when a shape goes over 4 sides, it gets agon attached to it. Think about what's the relationship with this shape and the creature. Have a go. So we've got a regular octagon. The clue, octopus, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs. Just as this shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to it. Oct means 8 and we attach it onto agon. It's a regular shape because the sides are all the same length and the angles are all the same size. So we've got a regular octagon. Part number 3, the important part of the lesson, focusing on dividing numbers by 10, 100 and 1000. So what words are going to be important? What words are we going to be using here? We might be using divide and share, because the word divide just means to share something out. I should have really added something else in there, and it is equally, because when you divide something, you share it out equally. And then we've got all of the place value labels, because it's the things that we are going to be talking about. These are the place values that are going to be important today. First of all, focusing on dividing by 10. So we're going to have a few questions where we have a divide by 10. You will have a go, then we'll go through the question. First of all, we're dividing by 10. I have the number 776. 7 hundreds, 7 tens, and 6 ones. It should really say ones up here. I'm a little bit irritated that I haven't changed it. So 776 shared equally between 10 people. What's it going to be? And very quickly the animation is going to do it for me, but notice this column here, the decimal point, only has the decimal point in it. When I've been marking lots of your work, lots of you would have put the 6 here. It's really important that you don't put anything apart from your decimal point in the decimal point column. Instead, that 6 needs to go in the tenths column. So our 6 ones have been shared out and they move 1 place to the right. When you divide by 10, each place value column is a difference of 10, and we're dividing so it gets smaller. So 1 shared out between 10, you get 1/10. And we had 6 of them, so we shared our 6 out, so you get 6/10. We had our 7 tens, 70, and we put them into blocks of 10. How many blocks of 10 would I have got? And I get 7. And then finally, I have my 700s. I share them by my 10, and it moves 1 place to the right. I get 70. So the final answer is 77.6. And I'll make that point again. Nothing apart from your decimal point in the decimal point column. Next we have 894. 894 again shared equally by 10 people. Remember, when you share by 10, one place to the right, because the place value is getting smaller and each column is a difference of 10. Very quickly again, but our 4 ones have been shared out, so I get 4 tenths. Our 9 tens have been put into groups of 10, and if I have 9 blocks of 10, 90, I share them out equally, I would get 9 lots of that 10. And then finally I have 8 hundreds, and I share them into blocks of 10. If I put 800 into blocks of 10, I would get 80 of them. So my final answer is 89.4. Notice again, every number has shuffled one place value to the right. Because when you share by 10, it moves one place to the right. And I'll make that point again, nothing else apart from the decimal point in the decimal point column. Make sure you put the numbers in the tenths column or the hundredths column, not the decimal point column. And the last one for dividing by 10, we've got 423, and we share it equally between 10 people. One place to the right, what would I have? Make sure you're putting nothing apart from the decimal point in your decimal point column. And your final answer is 42.3. Every number has shuffled one place to the right. Nothing else apart from my decimal point in my decimal point column. We move on to dividing by 1,000. Sharing numbers equally by, not 1,000, 100. Sharing numbers equally by 100 groups. We start first of all with 7,762. And we're going to share this equally, between 100 people. Remember last time when we shared by 10, it was one place to the right. So how many times are we going to move it this time when we're sharing by 100? So first of all, we share it by 10. We move all of the numbers one place to the right to share by 10. This isn't the final answer because we've only shared by 10. We need to make it another 10 times smaller because 10 times 10 is 100. So we do another shuffle to the right. And the final answer is 77.26. 77.26. However, you will notice there is a little error with my presentation here. Can you spot it? And hopefully you have spotted that, 10. This should have been here a 6. And this should have been a 2. And same again, this should have been a 6. And this should have been a 2. For some reason, that's me slapping my wrist, I swapped the numbers round. You mustn't do that. They must all shuffle in the right order to the right. 2 places is because we're dividing by 100. Your clue is the fact there's 2 zeros. The amount of zeros tell you how many shuffles you've got to do. Divide by 10, then divide by another 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. So my final answer, part number 2, we've got 8,946 shared by 100. Remember, we're not going to do all of the shuffles at once. You're going to share by 10, one shuffle, then share by another 10, 10 times 10 is 100. So I'm wanting to see one move and then the second move below that. What would be my final answer if I shared 8,946 by 100? Divide by 10 is 896.4. And again, what's going on here? What am I doing? This should have been a 4. And that should have been a 6. For some reason, I keep swapping these numbers round. I don't know what's going on there. So, 894.6. So I'm reckoning probably I've got them in the wrong order again on the next question, but we'll see. Yep. Slap of the wrist again, but it's moved another place to the right, and it should be 89.46. 89.46 is our final answer. Divided by 10, and then another shuffle to make it divided by 100. 2 shuffles, one first, then the second one. We have 423, and again we're sharing by 100. 2 zeros, how many shuffles? Divide by 10, then divide by 100. 2 shuffles. First move, well, hey, I've got them in the right order this time. So it would have been 42.3. But this is only divide by 10 because they've only moved one place. So we need to do our second move, 4.23. 2 moves to share by 100 people. And finally, we look at dividing by 1,000. If we're looking at the number 1,000, when we've divided by 10, we've had one shuffle. When we've divided by 100, not great at writing on the mouse pad, but it's been 2 shuffles. So this time we're dividing by 1,000. So ask yourself, how many shuffles are you going to have to do? Divide by 10, then we move another time, so it's 10 times 10, which is 100. And then the third shuffle, because we've got 3 zeros, kind of helps you out, but then 100 and another 10 difference is 1,000. So we're going to be doing 3 shuffles now. We start with 77.62. Remember, we are not, and I repeat, not going to be doing 3 shuffles at once. Instead, we divide by 10, 1 shuffle, and we get 777.62. We do another shuffle, each number staying in the same order. I've got it right this time, well done Mr. Lovell. But we've divided by 100, 2 places to the right. And then finally, we move it across, and I've run out of space, but I could do an 1,000ths column there. And we have finally 77, no we don't, we have 7.762. 3 shuffles, 3 zeros. Part 2. Oh, need to add a 0 in. We're still sharing by 1,000, and we've got 8,946. 8,946 shared equally between 1,000 people. So remember, 1 shuffle to divide by 10, another change of 10, so 10 times 10 is 100, 2 shuffles, Then another change of 10, 3 shuffles divided by 1,000. So first of all, divided by 10, 1 shuffle to the right, and we have 894.6. What's going on? I've gone back to the wrong answer again. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Ignore me completely. It's fine. Second shuffle divided by 100. 2 shuffles to divide by 100. And we have 89.46. Notice every number is going an extra place to the right. So we've gone 1 to the right, 2 to the right, 1 to the right, 2 to the right, and then finally to divide by 1,000, it goes the third time to the right. Because when we divide by 1,000, the place value columns need to change by 3. So each time you notice, they're going 3 places to the right. They're staying in the same order, they're not changing round. And again, I'll make the same point as I've made all the way through. Nothing goes in here apart from the decimal points. Final answer, 8.946. Finally, we have 423. And again, I need to put my other 0 in there because we are dividing by 1,000. Share it by 1,000. Off you go, have a go. So remember, we're not doing it 3 in one go. We share it by 10. 1 move to the right. Every time. 1 place to the right. Nothing in the decimal point column apart from your decimal point. 1 place. 1 place. Share by 10. Then we move another place to the right. 2 shuffles. Another place to the right. And another place to the right. We've shared by 100. And then finally the third move. Move to the right. Move to the right. Move to the right. We've shared by 1,000. We've done 3 shuffles. But we've now got a problem. We've got nothing in our ones column. We need to hold that place. We need to say we've got no ones left. And instead we've only got some tenths, hundredths and 1,000. So what do you think we need to put here to fill in that gap? We need to hold that place. So we're going to slot in a placeholder, put in a 0 to say that we've no longer got any whole numbers and instead we've only got tenths, hundredths and 1,000s. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure again learning with Mr. Lovell. I'm just going to make the points that we have spoken about. Divide by 10 is going right 1 shuffle. Divide by 100. Again, going to the right 2 shuffles. And dividing by 1,000. Again, we're going to the right because the place value is getting smaller and it's 3 shuffles. The zeros help you out to remind you how many shuffles you've got to do. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. Mr. Lovell signing off with a pen drop. Over and out. Catch you later. Goodbye.